Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Traders Mindchat show, streaming live, where we bridge the gap between trading theory and market reality. We've got some stuff to talk about today. Been thinking about this quite a lot. I was looking at Steve Burns' Twitter theme, and it inspired me today to talk about this topic. He was talking about what is wealth. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into psychology and wisdom. And towards the end of today, we may even get into some stocks. So for those of you that are here that are with us, first, welcome and happy 4th of July. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're not already subscribed to the show, make sure that you like and subscribe, and also leave a comment. Let us know that you're out there, that you are alive, and we will get into things. We see a few people joining us from X and from YouTube today. Welcome, welcome. Make sure that you leave your comment in the chat. All right, so let's get into things today. So tell us what you think wealth is. Here are a few of the things that Steve mentioned in his tweet. I tried to refine the tweet. I couldn't refine the tweet, but I saw it this morning. Some of the things that he mentioned, and he included relationships, health, exercise, good food, strength, knowledge, wisdom. Those are a few of the things that I recall that Steve had mentioned, and I went a little bit deeper into it myself, right? So asking, well, what is wealth? Right? I asked this question to myself. I prayed about it, and I also went in and I typed into ChatGPT to see what it thought that wealth was. I thought that would be pretty interesting to see. So that I can actually share the answer to you with over here. So let's, why don't I pull that in and we can take a look at this. Right, so let's zoom in a bit and you could actually see what kind of answers it gave. All right, so here's the ChatGPT answer for what is wealth. Wealth is the abundance of valuable resources or material possessions. It encompasses not just money, but also assets, investments, properties, and other tangible and intangible resources that contribute to one's financial stability and lifestyle, right? So those are all the things that it's looking at as wealth. So tell me this, do you agree with what ChatGPT is saying here? Right? Because apparently one of the ways that it finds its information is by scouring the internet, taking its knowledge base, and giving the collective answer for what most people think. I actually think that this is a pretty big problem. So let me share with you some of my answers that came back to me for what I think that wealth is, and these are the answers that came to me after praying about it. So number one, wealth is relationships. Relationships with whom? Relationships with God, family, friends, community like this. Feeling pretty wealthy so far. Health, including physical exercise. And so I didn't even plan this part of it. There's just some stuff going on inside the house, and normally I move the pull-up bar out of here. Today it's there. So exercise, part of it. Good food, strength, knowledge, wisdom, mental clarity, energy, all parts of being healthy. All that's part of wealth. Wisdom. I view wisdom as having a relationship with God, knowing God, and not only that, having God know you, or in this case, God know me. And finally, the other thing that came to me was resting well. resting well. And there was a passage that I read. I'm a couple of days behind it in this, but this is one of the my favorite books that I have lately. My wife Melissa gave this one to me for Christmas. Little God Time for Men, and it gives you 365 daily devotions. And so the one that I happened to read today was called The Off Switch. Not sure if you can see that, but let's. Uh, I'll give you a little bit of it here. At the bottom of it, it says, God, the world doesn't depend on me. You are in control. I don't need to labor anxiously without rest. Help me to truly believe that this week and to honor you through rest. And one of the other things that it talks about in here too is how so often we could get stuck in feeling that we need to do one more thing, right? That here, let me, why don't I just read this? Have you ever had a machine that was hard to turn off? Maybe there was a specific process of steps and patience needed before it could actually turn off. Maybe a switch was stuck, leaving it in the open position. Maybe something internally was broken, preventing it from turning off. Often this is an Often this is the unfortunate picture of us, right? I know I felt that certainly in the past. Every now and again, I forget that and I slip back into those old habits. Stuck in the on position, we run until our circuits are fried or our batteries go dead. We tell ourselves that after one more email, we'll be done for the night. We convince ourselves that this phone call is important enough to step away from friends or family just for a bit. We can't turn off. How much of that could be said about trading too, right? Oh, just one more trade. Let me watch the ticker just a little bit more. Oh, something's developing on this chart. Let me tune into social media or wherever. All this stuff applies. God gave the Israelites a mandatory off switch. It was called the Sabbath. This off switch was a way they honored God as they remembered that the world's problems and opportunities didn't rest on their shoulders, but it didn't only honor God, it was also good for them. They, unlike many of us, had a rhythm of rest and work, and a rest kept them from burning out. This week, consider taking some time to rest, do something that honors God and fills you up. Very, very appropriate. And I think that speaks towards what a wealthy life is. And so, if money isn't on that list, then I started to ask myself, well, what is money? Right? And again, type into the chat and let us know what you think that money is. Type into the chat, let us know, at least let us know that you're alive and where you're tuning in from. But let us know what you think money is. Here are some of the things that I started to think about. Well, what is money? And also, what is clothes and vacations? And what is a house and cars and all the niceties, right? Well, what are these things? Boats. It's all just things. It's all just stuff. It's all just tools, and it's an interesting question, right? Because are these things bad? Well, no, they're not bad. They're not bad. They're all very nice. They're all niceties, but they're not wealth. So another question that came to me after I asked that question, well, if these things aren't wealth, well, why bother with any of it, right? Well, why bother with money? Well, why even bother with trading stocks? The idea is growth. Growth. Just like how let's say you wanted to go and plant a garden. You plant the garden, you care for it, you harvest it. You do not obsess over it, right? So yeah, you're not out there day and night just sitting there waiting for it to grow. You water it, you plant the seeds first, right? You water it, you let nature take its course, and then when it's time to harvest, you harvest. You're not there obsessing over it. That is what plants are for. That's what money is for, right? Or that's what we could do to grow money. We don't need to obsess. And it's in the obsessions that they become distractions. And it's in those distractions that we turn away from what true wealth is: the relationships, the health, the wisdom, giving ourselves a rest. And so when we are focused on, oh, well, I'll do all those things when I have the money, right? Because again, speaking from experience here, right? When you're constantly going after the money, the next trade, the promotion, the doing the extra work, all those things, right? Like it's very enticing because I'll just do a little bit more and do a little bit more and do a little bit more, and you end up being on this hamster wheel that it becomes very hard to get off of because you think, well, just when I have a little bit more, then I'll do the other stuff. Then I'll build the relationships. Then I'll build the time for God and family and friends and community. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, right, and this is one of the things that I think that ChatGPT got right. So I'll scroll down a little bit. I asked it to make some images, but I think that this one does a decent job, even though there's some typos in here. Can you draw a picture of someone who has the first, meaning the money, but not the second, right? Because remember, it gave this definition of the second. Wealth can also refer to the overall well being and quality of life, including health, relationships, personal fulfillment. It's almost like it's an afterthought. So here's what it depicted, right? You have this giant house by yourself, all this money, and nothing else. Everything else is just a dream. We don't want to be in that boat. That's what happens. Right? It didn't. It actually. And here's something else with ChatGPT. I think that it's a fantastic tool, but we're looking to it for advice, it may not always be the best thing because it's looking at the collective thought. So here's some of what it thought if you had the first or if you had the second but not the first. So it's still showing you holding loads of money, right? So it looks like there was a misunderstanding in the creation of the cartoon image. I'll ensure the new cartoon clearly depicts someone with well-being but without financial assets, right? So it clearly thinks that money is the way to happiness, but that couldn't be more wrong. Couldn't be more wrong. And so well, when I pursued all this myself, right? Well, in my own search for wealth, I first started out with the search for relationships, and I found my beautiful wife, Melissa, and started to build a family. And then after that, I started to pursue more of the monetary stuff, or in conjunction with pursuing her and pursuing a family. I started to pursue the other stuff. So the promotions and the degrees, the money, vacations, house, all those kinds of things. I started to get a little too focused on pursuing the things, and it led to, well, what could have been a terrible downfall at one point. And I speak about this in my book, The Trading Mind Wheel. At one point, I became so obsessed with chasing after money that I almost lost her. It was soon after my daughter was born, and I was just thinking, like, okay, I've got to grow more money so that way I could have the the money for college for her, have the bigger house, more expenses, all these things, and it led to me being overweight, stressed all the time, and it was a nightmare. We were close to calling it quits, or at least getting to that fork in the road. We had a big conversation, a big heart to heart, and thankfully, I made the right decision. I ended up doing a 180. That eventually it took plenty of time to eventually find my way back. And in finding my way back, I'm here speaking with you today. And the way back was really focusing on what wealth truly is: the relationships, the health, wisdom and knowledge, rest, right? All the other things, it's all stuff. It's all great. It's all wonderful. Well, we do need those things. We want it to grow, but it's not meant to be an obsession. It's not meant to be a focus. Let me know if you guys have any questions or thoughts or anything that you'd like to share. We've got a bunch of people here joining us today, so thank you guys for being here. We've got close to 50 people over on X, and we've got a couple of people over on YouTube. Let me know what questions you guys have. And by the way, if you're not already on our newsletter, make sure that you get our free newsletter. It's over on marwealth.com/newsletter. And let's take a look at some stocks, right? Somebody wanted to take a look at some stocks. Well, let's take a look. So here is one that I'm trading, or a couple that I'm trading right now. These ones were shared with our can't speak today, research program. Research program. So let's actually take a look at the weekly charts. Right. So I'm in cyber. I've been in cybersecurity now, or cyber arc, for a couple of weeks here. It's up maybe about 7% or so, still behaving very well. This is the kind of action that you want to see when you are in a stock. You want to see these high weekly closes. You want to see volume coming in. That's a sign of accumulation. The thing that doesn't quite have me worried, but is not quite ideal, is the relative strength line over here. The relative strength line is improving. The relative strength line shows, so well, what is the relative strength line? What is the relative strength line? The relative strength line is telling us how this stock is performing versus the S&P 500. And so what you might notice is that it was higher back here than it is over here. So that's telling us that back here it was performing better versus the S&P 500 than it is right now. Generally speaking, it's better to see the relative strength line outperforming the price action. Back here, it was outperforming the price action. Over here, it's not. Over here, this is the price action is closer to prior highs than the relative strength line. Why is that important? Because it shows leadership. So is this a leader? In some aspects, yes. Is it the standout leader? Not based on the relative strength line, but it's doing okay. Here's another one that I'm in, MCAT. FC, similar problem with the relative strength, getting a little bit better than it was a couple of weeks ago, but still not above the prior high. Meanwhile, the price is in new high ground. ESTC, this one attempted a breakout this week. So far, it's squatting. Not terrible, not great. And then Netflix, the latest one that I just picked up. I picked this one up today. Netflix had a successful breakout. Let's take a look at the chart down here on the 30-minute. Or actually, we'll start on the daily and then move over to the 30-minute. And again, guys, get your questions in. This is the Q&A part here. Right, so price broke out. I saw this as an ascending base, right, with the first consolidation, second consolidation, third consolidation, and you notice that each one is getting a little bit tighter and a little bit shorter in duration as it's moving up. That's what an ascending base is. Ascending bases tend to form in choppy market environments, and we've been in a choppy, grinding higher kind of market environment. Totally appropriate. The thing that got me interested in Netflix, aside from the pattern, was how it broke out today. So I always like to take a look at the 30-minute time frame when I set an alert on a stock. And so I had my alert set at the prior high, price passed through it, and what happened? Volume was up. It was actually up throughout most of the day. So you see these blue bars down here, right? Let's make them a little bit bigger. See these blue bars down here? This is an indicator that shows me the dollar volume at each particular point in time on the 30-minute time frame. So if it's green, it's the price is up. If it's red, price is down. If it's blue, that means that it's above average for that particular point in time. So at the 9:30 to 10 mark, it was blue, so above average volume. At the 10 to 11:30 mark, blue again. Then as price is breaking out, still blue. So that was telling me that there was some volume coming into the stock. And so that's why when price triggered the alert, I decided, you know what, there's volume coming in. There's the evidence. Let me place the trade. And well, we'll see what happens, right? It's still super early in the trade, but so far the action has been pretty good. It's doing well what you would want, right? Price had a decent breakout, pulled in a little bit. Now it's consolidating near the breakout level. We'll see what happens. But that is Netflix in a nutshell on what I did with it. So let me know if there are any other questions that you guys have, and I'll stick around for another moment or two. By the way, again, if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel already, please do so. And also make sure that you get on our free newsletter, marrowwealth.com/newsletter. I'll be writing one up and sending it out just after this broadcast. All right, so I don't see any other questions coming in just yet, so I will speak slowly because I know that there is a little bit of a delay between the live stream and when you guys hear it and when the question actually comes in. But I do want to say thank you guys for joining us today, day after 4th of July. I hope that you had a wonderful 4th of July, and I will see you all next week. Next week, well, what do we have? We've got a few things coming up next week. We've got the Trading Truths podcast. If you haven't already joined the Trading Truths podcast or subscribed to it, I should say, definitely check that out. It's over on Spotify. Dennis Wilborn my partner in crime, he's the one that streams it on his channel, and then I'll take that, I'll post it on some of my channels too. But it's a fantastic podcast where we debunk trading myths. Last week, or I should say this past Monday, we talked about the trading myth of sell in May and go away. So check that out. And then what else do we have? We've got Trade Smart Tuesday. We have the midweek update that happens on Wednesday. And we've got the Traders Mindchat show, which you're watching right now. So lots of stuff going on. So make sure, again, that you are paying attention to all those things. Best way to do it is to be on the newsletter, be on these channels, and make sure that you have the alerts all turned on. Anyhow, that's it for me for today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Take care, much love, and God bless everyone.
Hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the end. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below and become a part of the Marrow Wealth community. And make sure that you check out some of the other videos on the channel. They're exactly what you need to see. And leave a comment down below. I read all of them. Leave a comment.